I request Dr. Zubair Khan and Dr. Basu Malik, no? Is it? Dr. Basu Malik, swelling of the knee I had, and his complaint, the main complaint is knee giving way next. And you can see that this stress views taken showing the opening. Next slide. Yeah, this alignment next. And the MRI shows some posterolateral ligament injury. Next. So that's it, that's it, that's it. Connect, Pandit. Yeah, it's about.
Remove that first.
No, not that, this one, the same patient.
Remove the artery posterior. Hold the superior one.
So that's his lateral instability,
Yes,
yeah?
yes. To continue as a moderator for this session,
Anterolateral instability in
PCL
ACL
avulsion fracture
reconstructions.
by Dr. Zubair Khan.
So, Professor Leonard, the concept of anterolateral instability, rotation instability, which is commonly associated with ACL injury, that is might be one of the reason for revision ACL as well, the failure of the primary ACL.
If there is excessive anterolateral instability, confirmed by a explosive pivot, but that's still a bit of debate. There's no consensus on it yet. Two schools of thought.
You want to add something?
I think what I do is, after doing your ACL, especially in individuals where you think there is a big laxity, check for pivot. If they are still having, use Gracilis to do it. Okay, but we do it in revision setting, not as a routine. Still, not
revision cases only. Primary rotation stability I don't do. But in revision cases, if the cause of the failure is there is some sort of rotation, I would do anterolateral reconstruction.
Yeah, well, in revision, yes, not in primary,
revision
and then
situation,
you've
yes.
got to be really brave to do a pivot.
Now I welcome Zubair to give an excellent talk on arthroscopic PCL avulsion fixation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, one and all, for inviting for this wonderful meeting. That was an excellent demonstration of the PLC by Dr. Roshan Wade. I'm going to talk about the arthroscopic PCL avulsion fixation. We know that PCL is not that common when compared to the ACL and the other ligaments in the knee, but it is a main rotational stabilizer as well as common ligament to prevent arthritis on the knee. If it is gone, it leads to biomechanical derangement, can lead to arthritis. The incidence of PCL is around 2% in almost all traumas of the knee. PCL avulsion is much lesser when compared to the PCL ligament tears. The most common is a road traffic accident, direct injury to the anterior tibia, which can lead to the PCL avulsion fractures. Generally, we diagnose with the clinical examination, especially the posterior sac, and you can see here in this demonstration that the posterior sac has been well visualized. This was a 13-year-old girl. We did one of the first few cases which we did with acute PCL injuries. The posterior sac and the posterior drawer is the most common, and you need to rule out the other tests like valgus varus and the dial test and associated ligament injuries. So the clinical diagnosis, once it has been done, radiology, most of the cases, we can even make out with the simple x-rays. As you can see on the x-ray on the top. Okay. So you can see in this x-ray, there is a simple avulsion fractures. Sometimes it can be missed when it is not visualized in the lateral views properly. So MRI is the diagnostic investigation to confirm the PCL avulsion injuries. If there is any associated ligament injuries also can be visualized. And all the cases, if it is included with the CT scan, which gives much precise size of the bone fragment. So we do all the cases with the MRI and the CT screening, and we measure the length and breadth of the bone avulsion fragment, because that is going to determine what type of fixation we're going to make. Because if the fragments are very small and if it is going to be an associated ligament tear, then the treatment options will be either reconstruction or with the suture techniques. So the technique of treatment completely based on the CT measurement of the bone fragments, which is readily available when we do an MRI, which can be assessed in all the patients. So that is the sections, and we always make sure that in both the sections you confirm the size of the bone fragment so that we can plan well. The option one, conservative surgical treatments. So if you see conservative, it is only in case of undisplaced fracture, and the risk of conservative is it can lead to articular cartilage damage if it is not addressed at the correct time, and if there is weakness of the PCL because of the non-fixation, can lead to meniscal tears and quadriceps atrophy if the PCL avulsion is not fixed, which is displaced. So surgical fixation is usually indicated for patients with fresh fractures, and if the displacement is more than 10 mm. Generally, if there is a displacement, nowadays we are fixing all the PCLs because there is an increased pliability of the ligament, which can lead to laxities and leading to degenerative arthritis. So in some cases, if there is a failure of conservative, we can go for fixation if there is a fracture which is not united. So when it comes to surgical fixation, what are the options we have in hand? Open or arthroscopic. The main thing which we need to look for is the popliteal artery, the neurovascular bundle in the back of the knee. And we have a lot of options in arthroscopic technique, which has been well explained. One is the suture technique, anchor fixation, screw fixation, but butter fixation is a new technique which I'm going to explain you today. Open screw fixation has been acceptable, but only thing is patient has to be on prone. You need a C-arm and you need to expose it and you can fix it. But it cannot be done in case of very small fragments where the screw per se itself can make the bone fragment shatter. So you need to be very cautious when you are fixing only with the screws. The fragment should be very big enough to hold the screws. And the positioning also is difficult. So there's been a lot of study on it. An arthroscopic fixation screw is always there, but only thing, the challenge is the accessibility to the posterior fragment through arthroscope, because when we do screws, it can be more oblique. You can screen that image. The screw is not perpendicular, and sometimes it can be oblique, and it's very difficult to fix with arthroscopic screw fixation, unlike the ACL avulsions. Anchor fixation has been there, but only thing is the stability compared to the screws and other technique. The anchor fixation is little bit inferior when compared to the other methods, and the gold standard is the suture fixation. But still the suture fixation is, even though economically in big fragments, still there is a debate on whether to go for screw or suture fixation, because you need to make two big loops which can come in the middle of the condyles. So PCL avulsion fixation, again the suture fixation techniques have been very well explained in different methods. So usually we confine the suture fixation for very small fragments, or when there is commutative fragment, there is no option. Suture fixation gives a very good result. So the new technique is a button fixation. We started this in 2011, where we used the mini tightrope, which was used for a different purpose, through a transeptal portal in the back of the knee. So mini tightrope is nothing but with a handle. There is a small button on the tip of the handle, and there is another button. Basically, it is with a two-button fixation. This is how we do it. You can see that there is a fracture in the posterior condyle. We make using the PCL jig, we make a small drill, and we pass this button just over the fragment, and we reduce the fragment on both the ends. So once the sutures are reduced, it fixes the fragments. The main key here is the transeptal portal, which is very key factor in assessing the fragments. So there are many techniques explained with the two anteromedial, posteromedial portals to fix the PCL avulsions. We always routinely do a transeptal portal, which is explained by J.H. Ahn, where the posterior septum is removed, and you can very well visualize the length and breadth of the fragment and assess the suture passage. Now we can move on to the technique. So we generally position the patient in 90 degrees with the regular ACL position, and we make a standard anterolateral and anteromedial portal as explained. Sorry. So that is the making of the posteromedial portal with the scope on the anteromedial portal, anterolateral portal, and switching stick is passed. I think this is already explained about making the posteromedial and posterolateral portal. You can see it well now again. So after establishing posteromedial and posterolateral portal, the camera switch to one of these portals, either posterolateral or posteromedial portal, like this, and the shaver comes from the anterolateral, and a switching stick is passed from the posteromedial portal to the posterolateral portal. Now you can see the switching stick is in the back of the knee, that is behind the PCL, and now we remove the septum. Once we remove the septum, now you can slowly visualize the bone fragment. Now you are able to see the bone fragment separately attached to the graft. So once the bone fragment is assessed, that's an artery forceps. We use a regular PCL jig by the Arthrex, We reduce the fragment with the help of the jig. Once we reduce this fragment, it fixed to that position, and we pass a small guide wire of 1.5 mm guide wire through it, and we hold the guide wire and we pass a 2.8 mm reaming over the guide wire. You can see that the guide wire has been passed, and the reamer is passed over the guide wire. Now the button is taken with a handle. So through the hole made, the button is being pushed inside, and it is flipped with the help of a probe from the posteromedial portal. So once the button is flipped, you can see the button is getting flipped, the handle is removed, and the suture is on the button, and you can see that once it is being pulled, it is getting reduced. Now you can adjust it over the bone fragment, and once this distal fragment is pulled and reduced, you can see the final fixation, that is the flexion and extension of the knee. That is the final fixation we get after this fixation. So this is the X-ray. On the left side is the MRI, and before and after surgery, that's what you are seeing on it. You can't even make out the fraction line on this side. This is more stable fixation, but only thing is it has to be done on specific cases. This is a 6 months follow-up. This is a second patient, 69 years old, and again PCL eversion fixation. And in this case, we have fixed the button over. See, generally we try to make the button not inferior, but on top of the tibial spine, so that it reduces as well. So sometimes we try to achieve over reduction also, that you can see in the AP view. This is a functional output which we got, and the scar is very less, and you can see the full range the patient can get. So the posterior cruciate avulsion fixation using suspensory device study has been done in 2012, but it was a very short study. And in our study, we did around 32 cases of 7-year follow-up with 2 failures, where in initial days we had comminuted fragments, and the button placement was not accurate, so that the bone fragment slipped out, and we revised it again. So the button fixation is ideal for a bone fragment which has to be big enough to hold the 2.5 mm tunnel. That is very important. And you have to assess the PCL fibers. So MRI is very important to see the assessment of the PCL fibers. If there is interstitial or partial PCL tears, then better to go for a reconstruction. And not in very acute situation where the bone is very soft on the tibial condyles. You have to look for the bone contusions. If the bone contusion is there, wait for 1 week or 10 days, let it settle, then go for it. And if the bone is delayed fixation, you have to be very cautious. Sometimes the bone is very soft. When you drill it, it can again shatter it. So you need to have an alternative options of fixing it with the suturing device. And this is we have modified a new technique where we combined the button as well as the suture. In this technique where we use the same portals, the anteromedial portals and the anterolateral portals. That is the establishment of the medial portals. So first the needle is passed, then you pass the artery forceps. Now the switching stick is passed. Creation of the posterolateral portal. I'll try to the suture along with the button, so it is a stable fixation on it.
And post-operative protocol, how long do you keep them? You keep in extension in a slab or?
No. We give them only brace. Fifth day we start them with knee range of movement exercises. Only things non-weight bearing for 2 weeks. Then we start with partial weight bearing. Full weight bearing in 4 weeks.
Perfect.
Knee bending will be started in 5th day itself.
Thank you so much, Zubair, for giving the time and nice opportunity. Thank you. We'll give the felicitations.
Now I request Dr. Ravi Kumaran to felicitate Dr. Zubair Khan.